Hey, Love Your Life fam. It's Crystal and Andre Holland.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, looking forward to hearing from you. So to find us, you can check us out on
Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Stitcher. We look forward to hearing from you all.
Yeah, we came a long way, and that's what the song say. And I can do all things. I can do all things. Yeah, I can do all things.
Hey, Love Your Life family. Welcome back to another Loving Your Life podcast. It's your sis, Crystal.
What's going on, fam? It's your brother, Andre. We're back at you. Excited to be with you today.
Yes, indeed, with another discussion about loving your life. What's going on, baby?
Hey, you know what? Again, what's going on is it's hot. It's still hot. Arizona, still hot. And so, doing everything we can to get up early in the morning, get stuff done. And as well as looking at certain things we want to get accomplished in the evening. On my end, I'm telling you, listen, I've been kind of, just reflecting, spending some time reflecting and trying to continually look for ways to enjoy life, rest, while simultaneously, looking for ways of how to move forward and expand in things I'm working on.
Yeah, I hear you. It's definitely, I don't know, babe. It's like right now, it is so uncomfortably hot. I don't want to do anything. I was sitting and running errands today. We weren't even out a full hour, and our oldest son and me, we were drenched. The air was on full blast in the car, but it's miserably hot right now. And so even trying to think of projects and different things that need to be completing is exhausting. It's just exhausting right now. So I'm like, man, this particular summer, and you probably almost say this every summer. Man, was it this hot last summer? But I don't know, man. This particular summer, it just seems.
Yes, it's like brutal. I said, it's like 130 degrees outside. And so that 130 degrees ain't no joke. This heat, make you feel like you melting.
Man.
But hopefully we'll get some rain soon. We shall see. Actually, we did get a little rain today. We got a little rain today. As I was driving into the office, there was some rain. It didn't last long, but yeah, I ran into some rain. Yeah, this morning.
It evaporated before it hit the ground.
I received a little bit on the truck.
Well, out here in Arizona, we have monsoon season. It usually starts stirring up towards the end of July, so we're hitting that mark. So I'm looking forward to some overcast.
Hopefully we'll get some rain because it's 150 degrees outside, and that heat is something serious. It's something serious.
It just didn't make me think, as we're saying this, and just how draining the weather is, and somehow, correlated to just situations and seasons that are draining, and like, how do you truly keep pushing and staying focused through seasons that are truly draining?
Well, yeah, because again, it's 200 degrees outside, and this heat, it ain't no joke. But no, that's a good question. How do you stay focused when you just feel like you're drained? And even I sit and think, you just getting these funks, heat or not.
Yeah.
It was like, no, I don't want to do it. I want to kick my feet up and just chill with my snacks, something to drink.
Don't ask me for nothing.
Yeah, so
it's.
I think it's a challenge for, but I think again, it comes back down to just setting healthy challenges, healthy goals. When I say healthy, meaning I think within everyone's goals, it should include their personal health in some form, shape, or fashion. Because again, loving your life, really taking care of self so that you can be the best you for every aspect of life that you have to deal with, or every sphere of influence that you're over. You need to be the best you that you can be. So I would encourage, and again, these are things that I'm doing. Even sometimes it's a struggle.
Yeah.
But just truly setting healthy goals that incorporate health, time boxing ourselves, meaning setting some deadlines, even for our personal goals. Because if we never have an end date even though we can always adjust it, but we do need to have some type of end date. I think will help us be more productive.
Yeah, definitely. And even, as we're continuing to unpack this, I sit and think about, I think, especially the tone of our house right now is, everybody's kind of like, blah, I don't want to do anything. And especially because COVID slapped us in the face, it's kiddos didn't plan on not returning to school after, they planned on going back to school after spring break. And so thinking about the amount of days that they've been in the house and doing stuff around the house, being productive, and now it's just like, I don't even want to actively think. I just want to rest, reset. I don't want to put any, additional mental stress on me. And they're preparing for what is distance learning going to look like, and so I think it's healthy to have these moments where you're not so super engaged in something that you're not allowing yourself to truly pull back, rest, and truly reset, where it feels like you always have to be engaged in something.
No, for sure. But I even think, though, too, for us, and I'm sure there's many people across, the world, not just America, because the reality of it is, there's some things that, because of the nature of all this going on with COVID and closures and so forth, some of the places that we would regularly frequent to get away or to refresh us or revive us are no longer available.
Right.
So it has been challenging to stay entertained, stay refreshed when you feel like you're kind of doing the same things over and over again. So I know for us, some of the things we do is try to tweak it a little bit, add a new dynamic to it. But even you and I, we talked about some things, date night, some things we want to do, different places we want to go. Whether it be pack a lunch, get an ice cream, and go to a part of the park, at night or when it's cooler. Yeah. I'm not even say cooler, when it's not as hot, where we don't have to be around a lot of people.
Yeah.
So again, I think it's just being mindful of looking for creative ways to get refreshed. Within our ability, meaning within what's open, because at this point in time, we're making a choice. We're not, engaging, being a part of large crowds. And so just trying to be mindful of that.
But, even as you say that, so I dealing with routine, and it's been consistently, the same old thing. But even prior to COVID, I mean, everybody had, to some degree, I can't say everybody, but most people have a schedule that is the same. You're getting up, go to work, same job, same things that you're executing at work, come home, eat dinner, do whatever your routine was before bed, watch a movie, chill out, get up and do it all over again. So we're not escaping routine, but the routine just looks different.
No, that's a good point. I mean, for sure it looks a lot different, but yeah, that's good. And then even for us, I would say a lot of people, it definitely routine, but it definitely looks different.
Right.
And so I think some of that adds to the getting used to a different type of routine, getting adjusted to it. Yeah, I mean, I think all of those are factors.
You know what I think has been probably the most exhausting for so many people, especially for the quarantine, is that they've had to sit with themselves. I think that's probably been the most emotionally or psychologically taxing part, because I think the getting up and leaving your house and engaging, your focus is somewhere else, versus when you're home, you're in your home, you see the projects that you've put off for months or years, you're having to confront issues that you haven't had to confront. And so I think that's the difference, why it can be so exhausting or feel so draining, because it's like, okay, I need to do this or complete this task, and then you just don't feel like it. And then if you have a house full of kids, and different projects, and going from room to room, and just feeling like it's so much on top of your own personal stuff that you need to complete and get done. And so I think that's the difference because you leave the environment of a lot of projects that you've been able to kind of push to the side, because all the outside stuff has been the distraction. And so I think when it's sitting there right in your face, you have to sit, number one, with you, the emotions and stuff you've been able to kind of push down and not confront because you've had other distractions. And now
Well, for sure, it definitely it's because of the nature of what's going on. It definitely has forced us to be quiet, be still. Even as you're talking, I'm sitting there thinking about when I was a kid. Man, I mean, we used to our getaway was to go outside. So as kids, like literally, we would get up, especially summertime. We would get up and go outside. And then go outside was you play basketball, you ride bikes, you maybe play football, kickball.
Yeah.
But we spent so much time outside in the heat as kids. And then I don't know about you, but my parents, when I was little, it was like, if you got caught coming in and out of the house too many times, you get scolded. Come back in this house and running out my AC bill. So you get scolded. So then you just learn to stay outside. You get thirsty.
Oh,
you drink from the hose pipe outside. The water hose. So I think so our kids right now, obviously, kids in general, they're not used to staying outside playing. They're used to a cell phone in their face, video game, something in their hand, interactive, talking to their friends. And so even our kids, some of the things that we grew up with, which was normal for us, I can say this, it's provided an opportunity to go outside. So obviously we've been doing a lot of swimming. However, especially our oldest, he's not taking too kind of doing stuff outside. And I don't blame him with this 200-degree heat, but aside from that, it's
Yeah, because when it's definitely cooler, you can actually enjoy the bike ride. Now you take a bike ride and it's like a 4-hour recoup.
I'm talking about that heat where you can't breathe. It hits you in the head and then it take your breath. But I sit and think, I wonder, obviously, so my pops, baby, obviously he's with the Lord, died 5-6 years ago. My mom is still alive. But I sit and think about even some of our family members who are no longer with us, who were older.
Mm-hmm.
And just thinking about, even thinking about growing up in the South and just the time. I remember as a little kid, it was common. I would go to my grandmom's house and she would be sitting on the porch, sometimes canning vegetables. And, I remember her, what do they used to call it when you get the green beans and you had to snap them and break the ends off. And so so when I would go home when I was a kid, when we would go back to the South to visit my family, or another part of the South, I should say, because at this time I was being raised in Mississippi. My dad was in the military. But I remember as a kid going to South Carolina, and even from Mississippi, it was still slower in the country. But when we went to the part of South Carolina I was from, it was even slower. And so over the summer, it was a lot of time spent on the porch.
Yeah. I don't know, but see, as a kid, I spent a lot of time in the South. Being from Tennessee and being out there on the porch with our watermelons, spitting out our seeds, and the humidity was horrible. But we had so much fun with the lightning bugs, catching butterflies, and running around the house. And it would be the same thing every day. But I don't know, it was so freeing.
Free, but I think too, it was at that stage of our life, that was all that we really knew.
Yeah.
And so obviously as you get older, you travel, you get more experiences. And then as technology increased and kids are walking around with a computer in their back pocket, they can access everything. Mm-hmm. Some of the things that we look to entertain us, for kids, it's not even entertaining. And then even think about it. Some of the movies that we watched we thought the graphics was so cool. And then we go back and watch them now. And it was like, how did we think that was tight? That little fake flying saucer flying across the screen. Like, even if you look at some of the old Superman movies, you thought it was so cool. And then you're like, Superman, you see how that's...
And our kids clown us hard. Like, y'all think this is tight? Like... what was it? There was something we were watching with our son, man. He was roasting.
I think all of our shows, if you look at the graphics, obviously now compared to, I grew up was when I was a little kid. We had a little black and white TV in my room. In the living room, my parents, we had a big color TV, but still, in my room, I had a little black and white TV. Used to turn the little knobs, tick, 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 tick. But again, all of our movies and stuff that we used to watch, the graphics, was horrible. But back then, we thought it was like, oh, this is awesome, entertaining.
Yeah.
And so a lot of it has to do with we've been accustomed to our norms.
Yeah.
And because of the quarantine and COVID-19, what we've become accustomed to, what has been the norm for us, has been interrupted in a lot of ways. And so it has taken some time to adjust. And the benefit of that is it definitely gives us the ability to continue to develop and look for other avenues to be successful, to branch out, and even opportunities to find areas of success. You think about just how many things that we were doing before in person, we're doing strictly by video conferencing. Even though video conferencing has been available for a while,
right.
But the fact that we've been forced, it's definitely birthed an opportunity to be more creative. So I think that's obviously the plus side. But again, it is truly getting used to a new normal for now. Who knows how long it will be. But it's definitely interesting just to think back. And so sometimes I find myself wondering, who older family members, especially those who are no longer with me, but even I've been intentional to even call older family members that I haven't talked to on a regular basis just to get their perspective on, first of all, how they're doing through all of this, but kind of tell me your experience growing up when the way of life was a lot slower.
Yeah.
How did you occupy your time? What did you do to make sure that you were always working to get ahead? And so I think it's important to just glean from those whose shoulders we walk on, those who've come before us, because there's definitely words of wisdom, and God forbid it goes to the grave without being imparted.
Yeah, definitely. A couple of things and suggestions, maybe some tips that we could give our audience is a couple of things that we've been doing as we're hit mid-July, and as my husband mentioned, it's about 200 degrees out here right now, is we just getting up early, getting our family going early, have them get up, start their day, exercise, have some, for our family, we do devotional, just spend some time with God, definitely in prayer, good workout. And then we come together, we have really got good dialogue, unpack, kind of prepare our hearts and minds for the day. We knock out chores while it's the coolest part of the day. And then kind of go and chill out and have some time, some just individual time. And then we'll circle back up midday, so that it doesn't feel so
rigid, so structured to the point where it's robotic.
Right. And so, and it gives everybody kind of their space to be creative or to just rest, chill out, do nothing. While when we do come back together, it's really productive because everybody's had their time to truly just have their own space. And I think that that's important. And then obviously we discipline we have discipline and order as far as screen time and the amount of time that they have on screen time. And so we don't tell people how to, manage that with their own families. That's their responsibility. And so, and then being okay with like, hey, I can't do it today. I just need to chill out. That's okay. Those days are crucial. They're healthy for the mind, for the body. When you've kind of reached your point where it's like, no, I don't want to do anything, and really listening to your body, but at the same time being disciplined in that, because that can go on too long as well. So it takes discipline at the end of the day, and maturity, and then being able to identify what works best for your family. And
for sure, I definitely concur. Then for us, even having kids, a variety of ages, from 5 to 16, almost 17, hearing their perspective, really getting feedback on what are things that's important to them, what are creative, fun things they want to do. So just really, I would encourage everyone to really, whatever your family makeup is, taking the time to hear from one another, because it's easy to assume or to schedule certain things and thinking everyone's going to enjoy it and appreciate it. Without having those discussions, though, you really don't know if it's what you're planning is truly meeting the recreational, social, emotional needs of the whole family.
Right.
And so I definitely would encourage, if you have not, make sure that you routinely talk to your family members, regardless of how young they may be. They can express to you how they feel, and definitely give you, tell you things that they enjoy. And as a family, or regardless of the makeup, single, kids, no kids, a blended family, regardless, just having those conversations so that everyone is included in the time of rest, time of recreation, time of work. Just making sure that the schedule meets the needs of everyone.
One thing that we found my husband and I, we find has been kind of comical is sometimes like once a month we'll come together and say, hey, we're going to eat out and let the kid, ask the kids what they want. And the first time that we did this, everybody wanted something different. And we looked at each other like, oh, man, we should have just picked where we were going. And but we honored it because we did ask them. And so for us, that's something that occasionally we'll do, and we'll kind of make that like a trip. We're riding out and kind of letting everybody pick what they want.
Well, I remember because, again, we went to 4 different places for takeout. And which is, hey, I'm not even going to lie, that's growth for me, because growing up in the mindset of this is what's for dinner, if you don't like it, you don't eat, to going to 4 different places for takeout, is new for me. But again, that's a part of growing, knowing what are traditions that we're going to individually keep,
right?
But also what are some things that we're going to do different from how we were raised.
Right.
And so I think that is the beauty of, this time, being an adult. You're really setting forth what it's going to be for your family. And I know for us, just truly making sure we have the input from our kids as well. At the end of the day, we come up with rules and structure, but we've been intentional to have those conversations with our kids and empower them to come up with chores and even consequences and rewards.
Yes.
If you do chores correctly or if you don't do them correctly, just really empowering them to take ownership, and because that definitely has increased the buy-in.
And it's been pretty cool because at first we were like, there's no way we're going to go into 3 and 4 different restaurants when we do have those moments. But what we noticed happened out of it is they were learning how to negotiate. And it was really cool to watch. And sometimes we would throw it out there and then we wouldn't say much, and we just sit and watch the kids go back and forth and why they should try this. And so just learning that something as simple as going to get something to eat is teaching them how to problem solve, how to negotiate. And so it's deeper than just going to get a meal. And then the fun part for them is just, yes, us being together as a family and just riding and doing this together. And so it doesn't have to be something so deep. This is basic. We're talking about a meal.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, even, for everyone, the worst things you can do is try to emulate someone else's life or emulate someone's resources or abilities.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with striving to do better, but please, regardless of where you are, financially, do what you can do within your means. Don't take on a false burden of feeling guilty if you can't go out to do this or that.
Right.
It's easy to look at the glass half empty, but obviously you keep striving to improve. But as you're doing that, have liberty to know it's okay to do what you can do within your ability, and not try to emulate someone to the point where you're overspending and it does not line up with your budget. So again, I want to make sure we have healthy conversations, again, and not give anyone a facade of what it means to enjoy life or success. The bottom line is, I think, regardless of where we live, how much we make, these are all factors that determine, what we can do or what we may want to do.
Right.
But I'm going to say this, it is so important that wherever you are, you find ways to get refreshed. And it's okay if it doesn't look like someone else's. And that's some of the things that, honestly, babe, we learned the hard way. Mm-hmm. Because even I remember when we first got married, there was a season in our life where it felt like it wasn't no birthdays, no getaways, no nothing. It was living to pay, mortgage and to pay this and that, And so we had to learn to budget for fun.
Yes. Schedule fun.
Yeah, schedule fun. So again, that goes back to the importance, quality of life, refreshing, getting refreshed, enjoying life, enjoying one another. So I just want to encourage all listeners, wherever you're at, obviously take the time to set goals, look at what you want out of life, where you see yourself, what are your goals, write it down, put a game plan in place to make it happen, which means as long as you're making steps towards that goal. For some people, they may sprint towards it. Others, they may be taking small steps, or in others, somewhere in between. But regardless, write it out, but make sure that give yourself permission to enjoy life along the way.
Definitely.
Because it's no good to get to the destination or to get to the income that you're looking to get to, or build the business to the point where you want it, and you get there and you're half dead.
Right.
Or you're stressed out to the point where your blood pressure is high and so forth, because you've put your health and your time of enjoyment on the back burner to accomplish something, but you can't really enjoy it because of poor health that cost you, or that you cost yourself because of not taking care of yourself in the pursuit of what you were trying to build, or how much you were trying to make, or whatever.
And so just definitely what we really want to encourage our audience today is it's okay to take a break. It's okay to say, hey, I need to pause. I need to refresh. I need to step back. I need to reset. I need to set some boundaries, let some things go.
Have some me time.
Yes,
yeah.
It's crucial because, again, a lot of our worlds have been rocked and continue to adjust and to modify, and we're at the tail end of the summer, going to be moving into the fall, and there's a whole nother can of worms that'll be opened up with that, especially if you're a parent, if you're an educator, if you're a grandparent, and so there's a lot. And so it is going to be crucial that you take care of you, and be real, be honest about what's on your plate, and modify, make the adjustments where you need to make them, and be intentional about resting. And that is what Loving Your Life truly is all about. And so we really just thank you all for tuning into another episode. And we will be back at you. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and YouTube. Thank you all so much. We love you.
Peace. Y'all enjoy.
Shout to the city that raised me. Shout to the people that made me. I'm from the 80s. I don't think mumbling wavy. I grew up black on a Jay-Z. Maybe I'm crazy. I ain't been wondering lately. Feel like it's there for the taking. Feel like I'm good with the changes. Know who I am. And that's the most dangerous stage.